But can we please welcome to the stage Kim Dolman, who's going to talk to us about Are You Having a Laugh?
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Can you put your hand up at the back if you can hear me, please? Thanks. Wow, what a show. What a venue. What a crowd. And I know what it takes to organise an event like this and to put this together. So will you put your hands together, please, ladies and gentlemen, for Tim Crook. What a guy. The only solicitor I know who can sue the arse off you and still make you feel like you've had a great day. So we've got some sweets here for the quiz section. Actually, I just want to say thanks to the previous speaker, David, because I did a degree in physics in Liverpool 30 years ago, and it's obvious to me now that I clearly wasn't paying attention. Okay, so we're talking about stand-up comedy, and this is, thank you. So obviously comedy happens in lots of different places, just accidental comedy, individual comedy, musicals, and lots of different places. And I think we know stand-up comedy when we see it. It's usually a solo performer, but of course it could be a troupe or a duet, a double act. There's usually a microphone involved, but of course it could be a small venue acoustic. Usually some laughs, but as I'll probably done before, that's not always the case. And quite a bit of spontaneity. But I'm going to define stand-up tonight as basically jokes with a live audience. So I'm going to take you back to 1831, and David Garrick, the theatre impresario from London, set up a club where he wanted performers from the London scene to get together quite up close and personal with lots of the fans after the show. So they'd come back to his club in Theatre Royal Drury Lane. It's now in Garrick Street, it's still there. And they'd perform maybe 5-10 minute sections, and some of those were comedy sections. Also, in the Victorian era, we had musicals, 1850s, 60s, a lot of musicals built in the Victorian era, and very much a musical, quite simple type of comedy as we consider it nowadays. And you had performers like Gus Ellen, who was a musical singer and a comedian, with Cockney songs like Arthur Find a Veil, quite quirky and quaint, I think. And Billy Bennett, died in 1942. So a British comedian who did parodies of dramatic monologues. He was billed as almost a gentleman, which I think means he was a bit of a yob, but sort of people. So, in terms of the emergence of stand-up in its own right, you can think of people like Mark Twain, who was a very articulate speaker. He did a comedy lecture tour in 1885. People listened to him for hours. There's a lot of literature around with a lot of his work. You've got Sir Harry Lauder, who was very much, once again, musical-based comedy act. He was the first British person to sell 1 million records. Harold Lloyd from Nebraska, very, very talented person, actually actor, comedian, director, producer, best known in this country probably for some of his silent comedy. And then a little bit more recently, people like Arthur Askey doing stand-up routines, obviously Liverpool person, with their characters and improvisations. In the 1940s, 50s, musical and its US counterpart vaudeville tended to be replaced by variety. So as the name suggests, it had a lot of different types of acts then. More impersonations, ventriloquist, juggling, magic, and a higher representation of comedy. And Bud Flanagan in 1961 introduced a royal variety show, obviously with establishment endorsement. We still had fairly predictable, as we say, catchphrases, perhaps punchlines, and topics like the bossy mother-in-law and henpecked husband. So once again, we still think that's quite simplistic nowadays. So, but comedy playing a higher, having a higher predominance. So So fingers on the buzzers for the quiz section. Who can tell me who stated his catchphrase? Bill Daniels. Catch. Bill Daniels. No. Paul Daniels, that's better. What's the next one? Where's the next one? Here we go. Who's got this one? Oh, well, one there. Sorry, one over there, not you. By the way, sorry, if anyone does get any low-flying sweets in this set, then Tim told me he's got loads of insurance. You need to download a claim on Bavard and he'll hit you to say that. I've just given away all my sweets. Right, you first. Alright, what have we got? You were first. Sorry. I need the loudest. And last one for this. Who's got this one? Oh my gosh. It's too far. You're next. Okay. The review is the university's contribution, massive contribution to stand-up comedy. So it started in 1853, the Cambridge Footlights, or Cambridge University Footlights Dramatic Club, as it was first called. And that's been the source of lots of comedians that have hit big-time TV. From Cambridge, you've got Peter Cook, and also from in the 1950s and 60s, the clubs used to fund their trips to the Edinburgh Fringe by performing locally and collecting money, and obviously going up to take their act up north. Styles changed though over the years. Slapstick's been quite predominant from maybe 1920s, 1930s. You had acts like Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, Marx Brothers, and also more modern times, Monty Python's Flying Circus. So the strong basis there in the performance art that we've seen back in musical days. Also you've got sketches. It's very popular where you can get more into the characterization. So Lyle Hardy, Round the Horn, The Goon Show, Spike Milligan, and more recently French and Saunders using this type of stand-up. So what do you consider is funny? So let's take some people. We all have things that we individually find funny that maybe not so many other people find funny. Some things are a little bit more universal, which most people will find funny. So you'll have all heard the joke. Last night a woman walked into my bar and asked me for a double entendre, so I gave her one.
That's not funny.
Okay. Try this one. Watch. If a child from a nomadic family wants to run away from home, should they just stand still? Alright, no, think about that a bit more. Memorable type comedy was something like you got from Tim Vine back in the 2011 Edinburgh Fringe, who simply said, "Crime in multi-storey car parks. That's wrong on so many different levels." But the pinnacle of the best is when you're around, you don't even have to tell the joke at all. So if I say something like the parrot sketch, everyone's going to know what I'm talking about. If I mention Mrs. Merton's interview with David McGee, most of you will think about a single joke, without me having to tell you which one it is. So, next section. Fingers on buzzers. What do these people have in common?
Mustaches.
Probably better to wait for the... So somebody said dead. Who said dead? I mean, obviously.
They're very depressed.
Anything else?
They're all depressed.
Okay, alright, so why is this person not included in the first list? I'm not sure. What are we doing? This is, I told you the women the joke, this is actually funny. So the first four have committed suicide, and the fifth one, Michael McIntyre, found out in 2010 that his father had committed suicide. As I said, not particularly funny. So comedy really entered gold there, I think, with clubs like the Improv, the Improvisation Club in Greenwich Village, New York, 1963. Had some massive meetings. Worked really hard to establish themselves at this club. Joan Rivers, Woody Allen, Kenny Bruce, and that grew into a franchise in 2016. I'm not sure how many now. 2016, that's 22 clubs around America. And in the UK, we've had the Comedy Store, which opened in 1979 above a strip club in Soho. And again, many of the things that we've seen on TV in the last 20-30 years have established themselves quite a ruthless environment where you could easily, as a newcomer, get booed off or get the gong, and you just have to walk straight off and make room for the next person. Fingers on buzzers. What do these people have in common?
Glasses.
I think Jewish over here. Who's it said Jewish over here? Yeah, absolutely. So, Jewish, I haven't seen any quantitative research on it, but they do seem to be quite highly represented in comedy, which is quite interesting. Alternative comedy hit the big time in the 1980s and then on to the 90s. For that to include a lot of the improv, managed to get itself on TV, lightly censored, much less censored previously, and very strong on political satire, getting rid of some of the stale, predictable jokes of previous years. And some of those are now becoming more predictable and obsolete themselves as time moves on. Plenty more styles throughout the ages. Time for our next quiz. Got so many sweets to give away. What do these people have in common? I should just give them a box. So they've all served in the armed forces, and probably there's a message here about how people often resort to comedy to get through traumatic situations. Someone like Tommy Cooper served in the Royal Horse Guards for 7 years, and obviously famously later died on national television with a heart attack, which is, again, not very funny. So comedy is probably much more prevalent since Saturday Night Live in the US, 1975. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Chevy Chase, massive names coming to the fore. We've had in the UK since 2004, we went live at the Apollo. And this took the standard club comedy format of a compare support act headliner to the small screen. That was hosted by Jack D for the first 3 years since 2004. And we've had some massive names on TV. Yeah, there's plenty of women coming up. So we've Mike Yarwood's 28 million, for example. If you look at the in relation to the proportionate number of TV licenses at the time, that's a bigger audience figure than the 2018 World Women and 2018 World Cup combined. So when people are on TV, Morecambe Weiss, reputed to the first 11 years, did the same comedy act on the circuit, 20-minute act every single night. As soon as you get on TV, you can't do that, so you set up a whole new industry having to write new material. But no talk about comedy is going to be complete without mention of the St Leonard's Improv Comedy Club, sadly no longer in existence. But people like Steve Martin said that enjoyment while performing was rare, and several people at Slick can vouch for that one. But being a sleepy backwater, we couldn't really attract any significant talent. We just managed to get people like Joe Lysett, Sarah Pascoe, Thomas Ranganathan, Catherine Ryan. Yeah, exactly. Where are they now? But we did have people like, we got Nat down from Birmingham, travelled 3.5 hours down from Birmingham, was on stage for 7 minutes, and travelled 3 hours back home, unpaid as agreed. And that's the sort of commitment that we see from comedians around the patch. So I think the real comedy heroes are the people that work the mic night in, night out, people who run comedy clubs, run comedy courses, write books, dress up, and simply local people with the guts to get on stage and give us all what we need today, a bloody good laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Kim Dolman.
Excellent, thank you so much. So, wonderful talk again from Kim Dolman. Now, does anyone have any questions for Kim? Anybody? Yes, there's a question straight away. Steve, yeah.
So, you talked about St Leonard's Club. What do you think of the AC Fringe Comedy Festival?
Yeah, unfortunately, I actually work out of town, so I haven't been able to get down. So I'd be very interested if I could make time to attend. I always value people like yourselves who support live entertainment wherever it is.
I never made it on to Slick. Was it Slick? You mentioned St Leonard's Comedy Club. But when was that running from?
So that was 2008 to 2013, once a month. Yeah.
So 5 years. Did anybody go to Slick? Anybody in here? Yeah. Anybody? There was a couple of hands. Yeah. Oh,
give that man a sweep.
Any other questions? Any other questions for Kim? So you had Sarah Pascoe, you said, was one of your...
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like, so where is she now? She's doing fantastically well. So, yeah, brilliant. Any, there's a question over there. Come in. Yeah, hang on a second. Yeah. Yes, there was a hand. Yes.
Hello. Well, it was about Slick again. I was just quite disappointed it's still not going. Why is it still not going?
Well, it's to be honest, a lot of hard work, but that's one reason I value what people like Tim, who can actually put aside some time to organise it. My partner's mother died on the sort of 5th anniversary, and we just before we had to cancel that one. And to be honest, it's quite difficult getting suitable venues. The Crown House was sold to was a great venue, it was sold to a private person, and it got a lot difficult. And to be honest, call me a capitalist, but I'd much rather pay £5 for someone else to organise it.
There's a question down here.
Yeah, hi. No, seriously, when do you think the women's stand-up began to sort of take off?
Now, there's been women at clubs like the Comedy Store and the Improv, so I would say that's when it really started to take off. As you kindly mentioned, some of the TV in the 70s tended to be dominated by men, as in other parts of life. But I think
the patriarchy!
I think that's happening.
The 80s, really?
yeah. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Steve?
At the beginning, you talked about stand-up being underperformers, but I've seen a lot of comedy acts that are duos or groups. Indeed, you had Dolman last year and the Watch Private team there. So do you think stand-up has expanded to groups?
Well, I think stand-up is evolving all the time. I mean, we had a troupe. I think most of it was like a troupe of 6 people over from Brighton, and that was an improv situation. It's quite interesting to see how formulated improv can be. So in terms of people asking for subjects from the audience and people making up songs as they go along, but actually the actual tune and the general direction of travel is all pre-prepared, but still obviously innovative and creative, and people putting some effort in to make people laugh. So I think it's always going to change.
They need to come and see the cakey light here, don't they? That's yes, please.
Is there a museum of comedy anywhere in the country? And if not, do you think that one could work in Hastings?
Hastings and St Leonard's would be a fantastic place. So maybe we can put some research in and see where we can get some material, products and artifacts. That's a great idea.
There we go. Let's finish on that note and establish a museum of comedy. Can we thank him?